Hi, welcome to your movement practice. I'm so glad that you're here today. Let's go ahead and begin by making our way into a seated position. Taking a moment to drop into the breath. Allow the mind to calm, the energy to calm. The breath to slow. Just a few moments to transition from our previous activity into our space. The silence helps to calm the mind. So we can become aware of our current state. And once we acknowledge our current state, we can make a choice on how we want to feel or what we would like to cultivate on our mats. So how would you like to move through your practice? How would you like to move through your day? Bring your hands up to your heart space. Set that dedication and seal it in with a cycle of breath. We'll begin in Mermaid, shifting the hips over to the left-hand side. The left arm will reach up, side arc up and over to the right. Bringing the left hand down, the right arm will come up. You're welcome to come down onto that left forearm as you stretch long through the right side body. Up and over, back to the right. And to the left. So take up as much space as you can through the arms as you reach them long. Take up as much space in the lungs as you take a deep breath in and a nice full breath out. We'll come back up through center. Simple twist over to the right. Gentle gaze over the right shoulder, left shoulder falls down. Notice what's happening below the belly button as the ribs turn, as the chest turns. Unwind, coming back to center. The left forearm will slide down onto the mat. The legs will extend out. Lift up. Forearm, single arm forearm plank, side plank. Option to lift the right arm up towards the ceiling or bring it behind the head. If it's behind the head, lean the head back into the hand. Continue to lift high through the hips. Activating through those core muscles for 3, 2, and 1. Lower the hips down. Press back through the left hand and come up and over to the opposite side. Right hips come down to the right, the heels tuck in towards your sit bones. Right arm reaches up, side body lean up and over to the left. Bring the right hand down, the left arm will flow over to the right. Now with your breath, as you bring a lateral side bend into your spine, and stoking that connection with your breath. One more here. And anchor through the lower body, reach long through the left fingertips. Come back up through center. Gentle gaze over the left shoulder. Right shoulder falls down. What's happening below the belly button as you revolve the spine around. Come back into center. Forearm side plank. Right forearm grounds down, legs extend out. Left arm reaches up to the sky, option to bring it to the back of the head. Lay the head back into the hand. Sternum comes forward slightly, hips lift up for 3, 2, and 1. Lower the hips down, draw the heels in, come up to sit on your shins. Curl the toes under for toes pose. Oh, lost my balance there, toes pose. The toes are curled under, the shoulders are up over the hips. Hands will release down, interlace them at the low back for chest expansion. Chest expansion, round the spine forward, drawing the forehead towards the knees. The hips may come off of the heels. You can stay grounded through the hips or lift the hips up to come further to the earth. Few cycles of breath. Send the breath to any creaks, any cracks, any discomfort. Bring the hips back up, bring the arms back up. Release the hands down and make your way into a tabletop position. From your tabletop position, barrel rolls, the chest will roll down to the mat, then back up towards the ceiling. As you transition the weight from palm to palm, you're also transitioning the weight from right leg to left leg. Help to balance that transition out as you press evenly into the earth with the palms and the grounded part of the knees. Reverse. Then walk the hands over to the right hand side of the mat. Lean into the left hip. Reach the arms nice and long. You're pulling the left hip away from the grounded palms. Forehead can soften down, jaw releases, breath is full. Press firmly through the palms of the hands. Rise back up. Walk the hands over to the left corner of the mat. Reach the arms nice and long and draw the hips back towards the right. Anchor the palms of the hands and reach the sit bone away from the anchored palms. Stoke the connection with the breath. Press into the palms to rise up to table. Bring the hands underneath you. Underneath the shoulders, drop the chest down. Lift the arm bones up towards the sky. Allow the rib cage to open up wide along the front side of the body as the sit bones spread nice and wide on the back side of the body. Then round through the back cat, and cow. Cat and cow. Land on a supportive breath that supports you as you bend and arc through the spine. You'll hold your cat position, extend the left leg back, reach through the left heel, lengthen. Drop the left knee down to the earth. The right leg will extend back, reach through the right heel, lengthen through the calf and the soleus. Notice if that right hip is dropping down. Come back through center. Curl the toes under, keeping the knees hovered right above the earth. You're holding your tabletop position. Breathing in and out through the nose, amplifying that nutrients to your tissues. Downward facing dog. Take the feet hip width distance or even further than hip width distance. Stretch the chest back towards the thighs and move the shoulders wide to the sides of the room. Come forward to a high plank. Lower the right knee so it hovers right above the earth. Lift it back. High plank. Left knee hovers right above the earth. Lift it back to high plank. Both knees hover down for 3, 2, 1. Lower the knees. Bring the hips back to the heels. Child's pose. Take the arms down towards your hips. Circle them up around to heart center. Reach the arms up to the sky. Bring the hands down to the mat. Walk the hands forward. Hover the knees to downward facing dog. We'll do that 2 more times. The right knee will lower down. Come to plank. Right knee will lower down. Back to high plank. Left knee lowers. High plank. Both knees hover for 3, 2, 1. Lower the knees. Shift the hips back. Child's pose. Bring the arms down around by the hips. This time come stand on your knees. Mountain up through the arms. Lower the hips down to the heels, hands through heart space. Take a moment to connect to your intention. Walk the hands forward. High plank to downward facing dog. Create space with the breath. High plank. Right knee hovers. Plank. Left knee hovers. Plank. Both knees hover for 3, 2, 1. Lower the heels, lower the knees, hips back to the heels. Circle the arms up and around. Come to stand on your knees. Lift the palms up towards the sky, then drop the hands down. Chest expansion. Reach knuckles to the earth. Lift up through the chest. Take a full cycle of breath in and out. Lower the hips down to the heels. Second time, bringing the forehead down towards the knees. Forehead can ground or stay elevated off the earth. The arms are going to reach forward. You can lift the hips, rolling onto the crown of the head. Create space between the shoulders and the knees as you round deeper through the upper back. Connect to your breath. Feel the movement you're creating. Lower hips down to the heels, lower the palms down. Walk forward to your high plank. High plank to downward facing dog. Right leg steps forward to lunge. Rise up to high crescent. Straighten through your front leg. Draw the elbows in behind the ribs. Bend through the right leg. Straighten the arms. And then draw everything back in. Elbows towards ribs. Straighten through the right leg. Pair that with the breath. Seeking breath to movement. Hold your lunge, reach the arms out, then round through the upper back, draw the belly in, open through the chest. 2 more times, round through the upper back, draw the elbows together, stay firm through that lower body. 1 more round. Draw in, extend, and open up. Lower down to Crescent Moon. Hands frame your front foot, high plank, downward facing dog. Create space with your breath. Plant yourself in your environment, in the present moment. Left leg steps forward to lunge. Rise up to a high crescent. Elbows hug in towards the ribs, front leg straightens. Bend through your left leg, reach the fingertips out. And then draw back in towards center. Settling through the feet. Sinking breath to movement. Hold with the elbows out. Low lunge in the lower body, round through the upper back, draw the elbows in, and then open up through your heart space. The elbows draw in, back body rounds. Elbows draw back, chest opens up. One more. Apologies if my count is off. Take it down to a crescent moon. Lower the right knee down to the earth. Crescent moon. Hands frame your front foot. High plank. High plank to downward facing dog. Right leg lifts. 3-legged dog. Step the right leg forward to lunge. Rise up to a high crescent. Straighten through your front leg, draw the elbows in. High crescent. Draw the elbows together, round through the upper back. Back to high crescent, lower the left knee down to the earth. Drop the right elbow towards the right hip, the left elbow goes skyward. Left hand comes behind the head, lean the head back into the hand. Maybe bring the right fingertips down towards the earth or up towards the left fingers. But squeezing in through the midline for 3. Continue to find your breath. 2. And 1. Return back to center. Release both hands down. Step the front foot back, high plank, downward facing dog. Left leg goes high. Three-legged dog, step forward to lunge. Rise up to high crescent. Straighten through your left leg, draw the elbows in. Bend through your left leg, elbows wide. Draw the elbows forward of the chest and the elbows back to the space behind you. Lower the right knee down to the earth, Crescent Moon. Bring the right hand to the back of the head, lean over to the left-hand side. Maybe the left fingertips reach for the back of the head, or for the right fingertips, you're hugging into your midline as you lift up with your right elbow. Breath is present. Come, release the hands. Hands frame your front foot. High lunge, step the front foot back. High plank to downward facing dog. Check in with the space between your thighs and your chest, the space between your shoulders and your hips, the space between your ribs and your toes. How much space are you taking up on your mat? And how are you occupying that space? Step the right foot forward to lunge. Rise up to a high crescent. Bend the elbows, straighten through the right leg. Bend through the right leg, straighten the arms. Step the back foot forward for pyramid pose. Straighten through your right leg, pyramid. Melt the torso over your right leg. If you'd like to pivot on the back of that foot, feel free. If you'd like to shorten your stance. Feet are grounding in, hips are lifting up. Lower the hips down to the heels to hover the left knee right above the earth. Straighten through both legs. 2 more times. Bend deeply into the lower body. Straighten through the legs. Sinking breath with your movement. Both legs are straight. Halfway lift. Left hand grounds, right arm reaches up. Draw the hips to the space behind you. Reach the heart forward. And revolve the rib cage around. Lower the right hand down to the earth. You'll step the left foot back to come up to a high lunge. High lunge, triangle. Adjust the feet accordingly. Ground down through the feet. Lift that energy up through the arches of the feet. And then lean into your sensations, forward, back, side, or center. Really amplify them with your breath. And how would you like to move through your space? How would you like to move through your day? Rise up through reverse triangle. I like to take my left hand to my hips, bump my hips forward, and then reach my right arm back. Lower the hands down to lunge. High plank. Forearm side plank, right arm is your foundation. Left hand behind the head, lean the head back, lift the hips up. Feet can be staggered, they can be stacked, you can be on your knees. Come back through forearm plank. Left forearm's grounding down, hips swivel over to the opposite side. Right hand behind the head, lean the head into the hand. Forearm plank, high plank, downward facing dog. Left leg reaches high. Step forward to lunge. Rise up through high crescent. Straighten through the front leg. Draw the elbows in. Back to high crescent. Straighten through the left leg, reach forward, pyramid pose. Take that back leg forward as much as you need and as wide as you like, so you feel nice and stable through the legs. Feed the intention with your breath. Cultivate those feelings you'd like to generate for the rest of your day. Lower the hips down, bending through the knees, straighten through the legs. Bend and straighten. One more time, hovering that knee above the earth, firmly pressing down through the left leg, outer left hip engaged, straighten through both legs, pyramid. Halfway lift through the spine, right hand's your foundation, left arm reaches up. Draw the hips back, reach the heart forward, create as much space. Occupying your environment with your breath, with your intention, and with your awareness. Lower the arm down. Come up through pyramid, making your way into triangle pose. You may need to adjust the feet, get yourself set up through the lower body. And then breathe into those unoccupied places. Whether it's internal or external. The spaces between the heels, the space between your arms and your legs, your head and your feet. Reach up to come out, reverse triangle. Taking the right hand to the hip, nudging the hips forward, reaching through the left side. Low lunge. High plank, downward facing dog. Come forward to your plank. Lower the right forearm down. Twist, forearm side plank. If it feels okay, take the bottom leg, extend it forward of your mat, and then lean back, creating an arc through the spine, a lifting of the hips. Stabilize through the shoulder. And then come back to a forearm plank. Rock the weight forward and back. Left forearm grounds. Bottom legs, option to scoot it forward. Lean the head back, lift up and arc through the heart. Try not to hold your breath. Come back through center. Forearm plank, rock the weight forward and back. Downward facing dog. The right leg lifts, three-legged dog, step it forward. Rise up to high crescent. Straighten through your front leg, draw the elbows in. Keep the elbows in, bending through both legs to hover the left knee above the earth for 3, 2, and 1. Lower the left knee down. Bring the right hand to the left thigh. Crescent Moon, peaceful warrior. Feel nice as you open up long through the left side body. Left hand grounds down. Right arm reaches high. Option to straighten through the left leg. Stamp down through that right foot. Hug the inner thigh towards midline. And revolve the chest around. Bring the right hand down. Cheat the back leg in slightly. Lower the left knee down or keep the left leg lifted. So we're back in that little crouch position. Walk the hands back. Bring the shoulders to stack on top of the hips. Left hand to the outside of the right thigh. Right arm extends back. If you'd like more toning through the thigh, lift the hips so they hover off of the heels. Stretch and reach for 3, 2, and 1. Bring the right hand down behind you. Lift up through the hips. Little asymmetry through the lower body. One foot's grounded, maybe the other ball of the foot up. Breathe into that instability. Breathe into the untouched and unseen places of the body. And then calm down. Walk yourself forward, straighten through both legs, pyramid. Right leg steps back, left leg grounds down. Downward facing dog. Right leg reaches back, left leg comes to meet it. Refocus with the breath. Cultivating those sensations and feelings you like to carry with you for the rest of the day. Left leg goes high. Step forward to lunge. Rise up through high crescent. Straighten through left leg, draw the elbows in. Lower to hover the right knee above the earth for 3, 2, and 1. Straighten through the legs, pyramid pose. Breathe that back leg up slightly. This time lower all the way down to the knee. Rise up through Crescent Moon. Bring the left hand to the right thigh. Lift the heart, lengthen back. Peaceful warrior. Right hand grounds down. Left arm reaches up. Option to straighten through that right leg. Press into the left foot. Draw the left IT band back. Twist, twist, twist. Release the left hand down. Cheat the back leg up. And come to lower the hips down onto the heels. Walk the hands back. You're balancing right hand to left knee. Open up through the left arm. If you'd like more, lift those hips off of the heel. It's quite challenging. Release, come back through center, straighten through both legs. Send the left leg back. Press down through your right foot. Downward facing dog. Left leg lowers, right leg comes to meet it. Downward facing dog. A few settling breaths in and out. Lower the knees down. Bring the heels over to the right. Sit the hips over to the left. Take the left arm up, side body lean, just like we started. This time we're gonna take the right hand, reach for the left fingertips, creating a bind. And then we're gonna move the left elbow over towards the right, settling through the neck, releasing right ear down towards the right shoulder. Come back up through center, release the hands. Bring the hips over to the opposite side. The left arm will extend up. Right hand comes to reach for the left fingertips. If it's not quite there, you can grab a shirt, a belt, a towel. Lift the right arm up, side body lean up and over to the left. And release. Come onto your bottom for half shoelace pose. The left leg will extend out. The right knee will cross on top. Reach the arms up and lengthen the spine forward. If this is too much, just bring the sole of the right foot to the inner left leg line. Walk the hands back up, taking that right foot with the right hand for a half happy baby, swinging it from side to side. And then the edge of the right foot comes into the crook of the elbow, drawing the outer shin towards your chest. Lift the chest a little higher. Maybe rock the leg from side to side. The core has been toning and lengthening through the duration of our class. We're moving into a deeper bind, compass pose. You'll take the right hand, bring it underneath the right knee. The left hand will come to the outer edge of the right foot. And play with straightening and bending through the right leg. If the space is there, you're going to straighten through the right leg as you gaze underneath the left armpit. Continue to lengthen long through that left leg. Reach long through the right heel. And then to come out nice and slowly, draw the heel in towards the seat. Draw the right heel towards the right sit bone. And then bring the right arm to the inside of the right leg and counter twist over towards the left. Release. Extending the right leg long, bringing the left leg up. Half shoelace pose. Nice wide seat, lengthen heart, lengthen spine forward. Walk the hands back up. Take the left hand to the outer edge of the left foot and just rock that leg out and in. Take up space. Left hand to the crook of the right elbow. Draw the outer shin into the chest, sit a little higher on your seat. Roll the weight forward onto the sit bones. Moving into compass pose. The left hand's going to come underneath the left knee. Hand grounds down. The right hand comes to the outer edge of the left foot. And begin to play with straightening through the left leg. The gaze is going to come underneath the right armpit. The full expression is straightening through that left leg, gazing underneath the armpit. The full expression is breathing into your sensations. Breathing into that effort. Come on out. Bring the left heel in towards the seat. Left arm to the inner leg line of the left leg to rotate around to the right. Come back through center. Extend your left leg out. Bring the hips a little closer towards the heels and lay the spine all the way down onto the mat. Bring the palms down to the earth and then back up to the sky. Down and up. Now this motion is happening from the upper arm bone, not just from the palms of the hands. You can take the knees from side to side, finding a little bit of coordination. And then either palms grounded towards the earth or up towards the sky. Extend the legs long. Hug the shoulders a little closer to the spine, then allow the shoulder blades to lay on the mat, ribs spread on the mat. Final Shavasana. Basking in the feelings and the intentions that you've cultivated, but how you want to move through space, move through your day. You can stay in your final Shavasana if you have the gift of time. Otherwise, slowly begin to make your way out by coming into a fetal position on either side of your mat. Just taking a moment here to acknowledge the transition from your mat back into the day. You want to move slow and intentionally with purpose, or hastily and quickly from reaction. When you're ready, come to your seat. Finding a comfortable seat, dropping back to the breath. With light love, gratitude, and grace, namaste.